Good morning, sir.
Good morning, man. How you doing?
Chilling, man. How you living?
I'm good, man. Good to be here.
Appreciate it. Introduce yourself, because I have no idea who you are, but we're going to find out today.
That's right, man. My name is Harry Dent III. I go by H3 on social media handles, and I am the owner of Applying Pressure Production. I'm the founder of Hustle Grind Stack Clothing, co-owner, and I am the co-owner of HarryH3.
Okay, damn.
Yeah.
You got a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
So tell me about, I got to ask, where you get this motivation from?
Man,
Because you stay motivated. I said, okay.
That was a big one. Man, honestly, God, my motivation comes from God. It comes from my pain, my experiences in life, my struggle, and just continuing to trying to make this world a better place. So the motivation is internal, but I wanted to see change in the world.
Okay, did something crazy happen and you was like, you know what, I'm about to do something about it, or?
Yeah. Actually, a few things. Some of the most recent stuff was just homeboys I was real cool with in the streets and stuff like that. They lost their lives to gun violence, and one of them got murdered in his mom's backyard.
Dang.
The other one got killed by the police. And after with both of those incidents, it was just too much on me to say man, we got to do something different. Cause I knew their dreams and what they wanted to do, but it was like they didn't have the opportunity to do it, cause they was too into the streets. So I was like, man, I'm gonna have to pull back from the street life and I'm gonna have to do something different. And that's where the little videos started coming, because I was like, I'm gonna get into speaking, because I'm gonna start telling these stories, especially to these younger people, and try to put them in a different direction and show them that there's other ways you can do things. So that's why I started all the businesses and stuff.
Okay, so you got a clothing brand, a production company.
Yeah. Another one, a clothing brand too.
So you got two clothing brands.
Two clothing brands and a production company.
Okay, so tell me about one of these clothing brands, where that stem from.
So the first clothing brand, that's the one I founded. That's me and my brother brand. And it's called Hustle Grind Stack. And the purpose of that brand, it was just our lifestyle. We was already living like that, so we decided to share it with the world.
Okay.
And it's been, it's been growing. It's been tedious, to say the least, because it's man, I know a lot of people think the clothing industry is just so easy and so straightforward, but it's a lot behind the scenes that people don't see. And we just been trying to display that recently and trying to document our story and stuff like that.
Okay, so how did you meet the people that you're building this with?
So the Hustle Grind Stack, that was just my brother, so that was a easy connection. Now the HarryH3 brand, these are two brothers I met through school.
Okay.
And we are part of a African American Male Scholarship Initiative Society. And we decided, the one guy, the founder, he pitched the idea to us. And my homeboy, he was an artist, and I was on the entrepreneur side, having the experience. So we just all collaborated. And that's how that HarryH3 thing started taking off a little bit, we made it real.
Okay, cool. So you from here?
Charleston originally. I'm from Johns Island, South Carolina, but I say Charleston because it's in Charleston County and nobody really knows, because it's so small, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So how you end up here then?
I've been up here about 8 years, and I came to Greenville originally to go to school.
Okay.
And I was fresh out of high school, and that didn't work out. So I dropped out. I got in a bad car accident. I was messing around with substances. I was smoking, drinking, popping Xanax and stuff, and got into a terrible car accident and hit 3 parked cars. And it was just a crazy experience, man. I went into a depression. I, had some suicidal thoughts, just thought life was over, and, just gave it all back to God. I started praying and stuff, and I started, because I was running from God at one point, and a lot of it comes from childhood growing up. My father, he wasn't really in our lives like that. He wasn't in my brother in our lives, and he, had a sickness. And at the time, I didn't know what addiction was, you know what I'm saying? So with me not being educated on that, I just thought he didn't want to be there for his family. And, that just took me some time to really learn about this stuff. And that's what made my interest in me going back to school, is because I wanted to learn more about it.
Okay, so what were you going to school for?
Originally computer technology, but I just did that for the money. So, you know, when you put money as your priority, like prerogative motive, then things just doesn't always align because you're not doing it for the right reason anyway.
Okay, so do you think that doing something for money is a bad thing, or just it shouldn't be your priority?
I just think it shouldn't be your why, basically.
What's a why?
A why to me is the internal motivation. Yeah, it's what keeps you going, what wakes you up, what makes you want to do what you don't even want to do sometimes. And for me, with the computer technology thing, it's just I was just going to school because my mama was explaining to me that if we went to school, we would get some money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So once again, the money was the motive. So I don't say it to say that money can't be the motive, but I'm saying if money is your only motive, the chances are you won't have longevity in what you're trying to do.
Okay, you think that applies to all fields, or is that field specific?
I would say anything, personal opinion, and it's just because I feel like if you're doing things specifically just for money, then that means you will lose the focus of whatever the field business is like you're supposed to be doing. So let's say that you're a doctor.
Okay, I was going to use that example.
Yeah. Let's say you're a doctor and you sitting in a room and you got to make a decision. It's like this person can get open heart surgery, but you know you're not qualified to do the open heart surgery. But they tell you they'll give you a $150,000 bonus if you can perform the open heart surgery. So at that point, if money is your motive, you're gonna take the $150,000, but you got to weigh the risk that you may kill this person.
Okay.
So it's like, can you live? There's some people who can live with blood money though. They can have blood on their hands, knowing that they live in the lifestyle they want to live. So I guess that's just kind of where the confusion come in with the spiritual and the religion stuff, because it's like, what do you believe in at the end of the day?
Okay. So do you think your beliefs are supposed to motivate the way you walk?
Once again, personal opinion. I believe that's how I live my life. You know what I'm saying? I believe everybody has a different perspective because we all view life through a different lens. So that could be very subjective depending on who you're asking.
Well, I'm asking you.
Yeah, for me, yeah. For me, of course, yeah. I believe the practices and the beliefs that I follow, it aligns me to make sure that I'm doing everything with genuine intent, genuine purpose. It's like this conversation we having right now, you know, people don't just reach out to you just to reach out to you. You know what I'm saying? They got to see something in you, or they got to see something that you're doing. And for whatever reason, something gravitated you towards me to say, hey, let's get together and let's work.
Absolutely.
And something gravitated that you doing for me to say, yeah, I'll be open to doing that because I think that'd be big for the world. You know what I'm saying?
So how do you get people, kind of like we said, I hit you up, I was like, you trying to do an interview, and you was like, cool. How do you get people that aren't open to reach back? When you when a person reaches out, how do you get them to reach back if they're not open to it, or if they're not open-minded, I guess you would say?
Yeah, that's a great question, because it varies, from person to person. Some people, there's a lot of people who talk like a good game. So that's one of the biggest things. You got to know your values and know what you align with. So I can, and because I'm in school to study it too a little bit, it helps me. I can kind of decipher and read through what people motives is. So if someone's reaching out to me to really do something, well, I go off the energy at that point.
Right.
So if the energy is aligning, I'm like, okay, boom. So we go with conversation. Okay, this is time. This is where you need to be. What do you prefer? What do you like? Things like that. So I'm like, all right, this person's serious, because they're not just doing like a one message thing and then going ghost. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the big takeaways if I see somebody do like a one message thing and go ghost. Because I had plenty of people reach out to me like, man, we need to get up. We need to link up. I done met a lot of people being up here in Greenville like, man, I want you on my podcast. Never hear from them again. You know what I'm saying? And one of the big things I think too is I like to do the face-to-face meetup. You know what I'm saying? The DM thing is cool and stuff, but I feel like the most connections I make is when I meet people at events or when I meet people doing something. And then that's how we just kind of build a relationship going forward.
Okay, I can feel that. Yeah, I'm about like you. I've had some people say they want to come on and they want to do it through Zoom. And I'm not knocking Zoom. I just prefer to be in person.
Right.
I think it's a different, as the young folks say, vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, because I mean, you can talk to somebody and you can see what they're about when you sitting with them.
Yeah, because body language and nonverbal expression to me that's like key.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can hear verbally, you can hear tone all day, but when you see physically, like somebody's presence, how they moving, how they react, like that take me to a whole nother level because I could tell if you really engaged in what's going on or not.
Yeah. So how do you apply that to your motivational speeches?
Man, it is, speaking's been a process. That's one of the relatively new things I got into. I just told myself going into 2023, I was like, man, I'm gonna get into speaking. I follow people like Eric Thomas, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, Bob Proctor, big names like that. And I just seen what they doing. Steve Harvey, TD Jakes, all them people. And I'm like, man, the impact. Impact, then I go back to history to Martin Luther King and just saw the impact he had. And I'm like, man, like, I wonder what it would be like to be like the Martin Luther King of my generation because we don't have a lot of leaders in my generation. There's a lot of people following and there's a lot of people who are being told what to do. And I'm like, well, what if you had the impact to spread the message to where people can take themselves to the next level? Like, what if you could be that person? So that's where that really came from. And when I said it, I didn't think it was gonna pop as fast as it did, because I put it in God's hands. I'm like, I'm still trying to follow his plan, not follow my plan. And the first time I said I was gonna get into speaking, I got a call from a lady and she was like, I want you to speak. Do you know anybody who could speak at an event? And I was like, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, dang. So that was the first of the year. I said, I'm getting into speaking. The 14th was the event. So 13 days. I had my first opportunity to speak in front of 150 people in Charleston. So
that's dope. What was the event?
It was an empowerment gala talking about financial literacy, empowerment, generational wealth.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So do you think do you have to be to a certain level of success to be a motivational speaker, or do you think that you just have to have more of a positive outlook?
Positive outlook. I don't think there's no level of success because I feel like everybody has a voice. It's tapping into that. Back to what I say, and this is something that I speak about a lot. It's a system that I made. It's called LDD, and it's locus of control, discipline, and desire. So when you tap into the internal locus of control, the things that you can control, the things that you have the ability, like waking up on time and being places on time and staying true on your word and studying and learning, those are things that you can control. So when you tap into that and you get into that consistency thing, that's a word my generation can't stand, but when you get consistent in what you're doing, then you have something to speak on automatically because there's people out here who is struggling, who battling, like staying consistent, staying on task. And when you give them the tools, because that's one of the big things I like. When I get into that speaking, I try to really give action-oriented steps on like, okay, boom, this is what you do. Like, this is what you can try. Like, this is a way that you can keep growing personal development.
Okay, so you like to give words and back it up with action, not just manifest and it's just going to fall in your pocket.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, 100%.
So what do you think about that manifestation movement that people are doing?
Man, manifestation to me, it's not a terrible thing per se. I feel like faith without work is dead. I feel like you can say things, of course, but if you got to do things in order to make the things happen. So I could say I want $1 million all day.
Okay, exactly.
But if I'm sitting on the couch playing video games,
where you gonna get the $1 million?
I'm gonna get the $1 million.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so I look at things like what you and I are doing right now. It's like what we doing now. We can manifest and say, you can say, boom, I want to be in a huge studio, and I can say, boom, I want to speak in front of thousands of people.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing the steps right now in order to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We're building towards it.
Right. So it's manifestation with work.
Okay. So you think that's what it takes?
That's what it takes, yeah.
So why do people just, and obviously I'm not in everybody's house every day.
Yeah.
But why is there such a strong manifestation movement but not an action movement?
Social media, instant gratification. Easy answer. I'm just being real, you know? I'm being real, bro. Like,
I mean, so how do you keep the message from getting cluttered with all the noise on social media?
You see the views on the message is low. You know what I'm saying? The likes is low. It's going to be hard to distribute the message without doing the work. So in that sense is you put the message out and you just continue to keep working. Put the message out, continue to keep working. You plant seeds. You know, when flowers are grown, they start as a seed. You water them. The roots start coming. Keep watering. Now the flowers are coming. You put it in the care. You put it in the freezer. Bring it back out the freezer. Now you're selling it.
Okay.
So that's how I just think about it. I think about it as step by step by step process. They may not get it right now. You know, we still in the beginning of the year, and I dropped the speech about talking about staying in the first quarter. You know, January through March, that's just the first quarter. So that's the 90-day stretch right there. If you can keep your momentum going for that 90 days, that next 90 days to come, it's not going to be as bad, you know what I'm saying? Because you're trying to get to the 365 point.
Oh, well, you basically own it day in, day out.
You got to take it day by day.
Okay. So, but how do you show the action on social media, though? Do you think it's... Because a lot of cats will have people videograph for them while they... Say, for example, I don't know, whatever foundation I'm starting.
Yeah.
And say we build houses. And people will promote it on social media. Do you think that dilutes the message? Or do you think that helps, I guess, reinforce the message?
It depends on the person looking at it. I feel like there's some people who overcomplicate things just by nature. You know, they overthink things and they look at it. They look at the thing being displayed as more than the message. So they get lost in the message at times because...
Wait, how so?
Well, okay. For example, if you're saying that something with a building foundation, right? The message could be as simple as this is the process of getting into a house, something like that. And somebody may be looking for something else in the message, so then you'll miss the whole message of what the message was even intended for. So sometimes it's just that stepping back and reevaluating yourself and making sure that you can interpret the messages as they get in display.
As in not seeing it as somebody trying to stun or show off that they're building something, but they're saying, hey, we do this for, say, wounded warriors or whatever it is.
Right. And like you said earlier, that it can kind of cloud judgment a little bit because there's two different type of people. There's people who doing this stuff for motivational purpose and motivational, you know what I'm saying? And then there's people who are just trying to stun on people straight up.
Or get the looks and the likes.
Yeah.
So how do you differentiate between the two? As a person scrolling through the gram, so to speak.
Honestly, it's just knowing where you at as a person. You know what I'm saying? I could watch people all day and at the end of the day, I don't know these people. So it's hard to know what somebody's intention is if you don't know them. So,
that's the problem, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's because do you remember when Meek Mill was, I mean, he probably still does. I don't follow Meek Mill, but they say he was showing like rollies and cars and shit like that. And he said it was, I'm paraphrasing, but he said it's more, that's trying to motivate his people.
Right.
Would that motivate you or the average person? Especially because you don't rap, right?
Nah, I used to rap.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. If that's not your dream, then does the motivation have to come from the field you're trying to be a part of, or can motivation exist on its own, just regardless of what the field is?
See, in that scenario, I look at it like what he probably was trying to do is just show people that it's possible to get. So that's, once again, it comes back to a mindset now. And I ain't tap on that word, and I probably should have started with that. It's all about a mindset. See, wealth is mindset. So what Meek is trying to display is that it's not even the fact that I have all these things. It's the fact that you look like me. You know what I'm saying? You can get it too if you put the work in. It don't matter what field you in.
Okay.
It don't matter. And I think what happens is we are taught to be traditionalized. So we taught to go to school, get a college education, work this job, retire, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? But people like Meek and Lil Baby and, you know, tons of other people, they live a lifestyle based off risk. You know, people like myself, I live a lifestyle based off risk. Okay. And what it is I'm sacrificing the normal life now to get what I want later. Okay. So, for example, in my business, I don't see the profit straight up front because I'm too busy reinvesting into the business, right?
Okay.
And the reason I do that is for tax purposes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So if I'm having a conversation with somebody who's never done that, they're
Right.
looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, why would I start a business? I ain't making no money. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you have to look at it as a funnel method. You got to look at it as like you reinvesting into yourself.
Mhm.
And that's where some of the motivational talk come from because it's basically just invest in yourself no matter what field you in. So even if you have a college education, learn how to do something on the side because you've already sat in that classroom for all them years and got that information. Do a course.
Okay.
Write an ebook. Write a book. You know, keep making money with the information that you already learned.
Okay, so you basically refunnel it, not necessarily money, but refunnel information.
The information, yeah. That's what it's about.
I can fuck with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how old are you?
26.
Okay, cool. I'm 38.
Okay.
So I'm the beginning of millennials, I think.
Right.
You're the end of millennials, right?
Yeah.
And then I think, I might be wrong, but it's like 1920 is Gen Z?
Yep.
Okay.
Like 20 is.
So why are us as millennials afraid of that traditional route of life where we go to school, manufacturing is starting to die a little bit, but say manufacturing or whatever it is, and we just work 20, 30 years and we retire. Why are we afraid of that?
You know what's funny?
Because that's stability.
Yeah.
And like you kind of said, you said risk. This is a risk for me, this is a risk for you, but we're risking something with no guarantee of the end.
Yeah.
Whereas if I go to school and like you referenced the doctor, I go to school and I become a doctor. That's a guarantee. Unless I fall off the earth. But you know what I mean? Like if I go to school, I go to medical school, as long as I graduate, I can become a doctor. That's a guarantee of a certain level of stability. Why are we afraid of that?
Funny thing. See, I think the more important part to reach out of that is we are afraid of ending up like Gen Z. We are afraid of being like the generation before us. You see, on paper,
the baby boomers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. On paper, my mom and dad, like they were doing well.
Okay.
You know, my dad was a military sergeant. Mom was a school teacher.
Okay.
Combined income, just throwing numbers out there, they may have made about $100K, 125 on paper. But still broke.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So the thing about it is...
what's your definition of broke, though? You mean you ain't had the newest J's? Because that's not broke. That might just be being wise.
my definition of broke is poverty or middle class.
You said poverty or middle class?
Poverty or middle class.
Why is middle class broke?
Because middle class is when people think things are assets that's not really assets.
Such as?
New car.
No, well, everybody knows that's a depreciating value.
Exactly.
Or assets,
but having a car payment.
Okay.
So not owning a car.
Okay, so you're saying because it's not paid for?
You making car payments.
Okay.
So I look at middle class as it's a trick. It's a trick to stay set in a traditional setup. So I feel like we in this new generation, we aiming more onto the wealth tip. We're getting more on trying to become wealthy and not just be sustained in the middle class like our parents was.
Okay.
So when it comes to why we are getting into like starting the businesses or learning about the stock market and crypto or doing drop shipping, doing e-commerce, doing all these hot industries and becoming social influencers and stuff, I did listened to somebody who did a study the other day, and they were saying that being a social media content creator, the industry is estimated to be worth $3 trillion by 2026.
Okay. But how much of that are we going to get?
Well, it depends on how much work you put in.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's 2023. That's 3 years.
Well, I will disagree that I'm not knocking your mentality. I will disagree. I don't think the middle class I would consider as broke.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a very small, just give or take almost 8 billion people on this earth. Mm-hmm. The percentage of people that are wealthy is like 0.5% of that 8 billion people. And so I guess, how would I put it? To me, the social media thing is the new rap. Mm-hmm. Like you said, you used to rap. I used to rap. Because everybody who don't want to be rich.
Right.
But I think social media and being a creator is just a new version of wanting to be a rapper or wanting to be a ball player. Would you agree or would you disagree?
Yeah, depending on how you use it. Yeah.
So is that kind of the same thing? I mean, I might be wrong. I'm not saying I'm correct. I'm just brainstorming with you. But I mean, so isn't that kind of the same thing though? Like instead of wanting to be a doctor when I was growing up, we all want to play basketball, we want to play football, we want to rap. Now instead of wanting to be a doctor, we want to be content creators, we want to be social media stars. But isn't that kind of the same thing?
Yeah, and I think what it is it kind of depends on what you're using it for. You know, like for me, for instance, I'm not a full-time content creator. It's just something I do for fun. But once I found out that you can make money through it, it's just another stream of income for me. You know, so I think the thing about it is trying to figure out where you want to be in life, you know. And to the middle class statement, I wasn't saying that.
No, I wasn't offended.
No, you good. No, I just want to clarify. Okay. I wasn't saying like when I say broke, like I don't mean $0 or, you know, I say middle class. A lot of middle class people that I speak with, the brokenness comes from being in debt. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said broke. Yeah. I don't look at. For me, I don't really classify somebody having real money until they're not in debt anymore.
I can dig that.
You know what I'm saying?
I got a homeboy that he's literally debt free.
Yeah, exactly. I met plenty of debt free people, and I have conversation with plenty of debt free. So it changed my whole mindset because here I am thinking, you know, middle class, like we doing something, you know, like, and we ain't poverty no more, so we good. You feel me? But it's like. It's an illusion. We still fooling ourselves because like we still ain't really where we need to be at. So that's where the teaching comes in, you know, a lot of times. And it's just when you get around different people, you start seeing the world different. And of course, I don't expect everybody to agree with me because we
all got different perspectives. Yeah.
There's gonna be some people with different perspectives. That's just how we wired as humans. We all look at life through a different lens. So when it comes to the content creation, if you full time in the content creation, that's all you desire to do in life. It's like rapping. You know what I'm saying? You putting all your eggs in one basket. You just trying to make it at that point. For me, like I said, per se, it's just something that I do. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm trying to get the message out. But like I said, I do public speaking as well. So I'm saying I put all my eggs in getting that bag because people will pay for me to come in front of a crowd of people and speak to them. As far as me being behind the phone, you know, so it's just more income for me. I think people should start, and this is an opinion, you know, I'm not telling nobody to do it, but I think people should start thinking about how can I take the skills I already have tangibly, like the skills that I've learned in life, the stuff that I sat in a classroom and took the time to get the information and monetize it.
I can rock with that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like what you said, is even if you're not necessarily funneling money, funnel the information that you have back into yourself.
Because it's going to bring money.
I can rock with that.
You know what I'm saying? People pay for value.
Okay. It sounds good. It sounds good. That is good. Yeah, I've rocked with that. Because, I mean, so it sounds like it goes back to the why for you.
It's always, that's number one reason for me. That's number one. I tell people all the time, man, if you don't have a why, it's going to be hard to find your purpose in life.
So that's why you say take money out of the why. And do you think once you take the money out of your why, so to speak, it'll give you that true direction, or do you think people still bounce around from idea to idea to what's hot and what's new?
I gave you two answers. I'm gonna give you my answer. For me, once I took money out the why, it made life clear and concise to where I could focus on just becoming a better person.
Okay.
And what happens is when you become a better person, you become valuable, and people pay for value. People want to be around people for value. And it comes back to that message I just dropped to people: stop writing checks that you can't cash. All I was really saying is, and there you go with the message. You might have missed the message because you might have think like I'm physically saying stop writing a check that somebody can't cash. No, what I'm saying is stop telling people that you can do things that you can't do.
Okay.
Because then they're gonna stop. You're gonna keep bouncing. That's what's gonna happen. So people gonna stop hitting you up. They're gonna stop. They're just not even gonna fool with you no more. Now, the other answer would come from the bouncing around thing. There's some people who just don't know what they want out of life, period. So if you don't know what you want out of life, how are you going to create a why? Like, what are you living for?
Mhm.
So that's what you got to figure out. That's the deep dive you got to do. For some people, their why may be money. You know what I'm saying? If your why is money, then that's cool, you know.
Yeah.
But just make sure that you aren't doing anything for the money. Because when you do anything for money, you'll do anything for money.
I can rock with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what you said you can become a valuable. What's a valuable person to you? Tell me what value means, and then how does that apply to an individual?
So I look at value like, let's say, I want to think about this. I just put it out there.
No perfect answers.
Let's say that.
Answers.
Let's say that I had an experience one time where I was at the gas station, and my man's came up to me, and he was like, yo, I got this jewelry and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, you know what I'm saying, cool, whatever. And he kept going, like, man, I do a deal for you. And I'm like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, give me $200. Man had a chain, a ring, a bracelet, like, and I'm thinking in my head, like, man, ain't no way all this. And he's like, give me $150. Cause I never said like,
okay, or if you
no,
haggle,
like I don't want to like you drop $50 that quick.
Mm-hmm.
So if you drop from $200 to $150 in less than 3 seconds, that should already let me know that jewelry has no value. Now, somebody that man would have came up to who was already wearing a diamond bracelet, diamond ring, or real gold or something like that, they're gonna know as soon as that man walk up, I'm good.
Because he already has what the guy that's selling is considered valuable?
He already knows that what the guy's selling has no value.
Okay.
So that's how you got to think about value. And that's how you got to seek value. You got to know that you're valuable first. If you don't know that you are valuable, that you have value, it's going to be hard to decipher when people of value come up to you or when people of value are around you. So you could put me in a room with 50 different people, and I could point out the people who are our value and who got no value just based on conversations we have.
So is that a exterior thing, or that's on? You mean once you talk to the people?
Once I talk to the people, you can even just tell how they move.
Okay.
You could tell people with value, they move different.
How so?
You just, all right, for example, the clubs. People of value who go to the club, they aren't the first to get in, they aren't the last to leave. They don't stay there long.
Okay.
Because they know they're of value. So like rappers, when they do appearances in clubs, ball players, whatever, they're moving with 20, 30 people most of the time.
Okay.
They're in and out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, because they value their time.
They value their time. They value their life. They value their presence. The ones who don't value, I mean, look what happened to them.
They open that bitch and shut it down.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Okay. You might hear about them getting caught broad daylight. You got shoot up in the store, you know what I'm saying? Long live PNB Rock, you know what I'm saying? You got to be cautious of how you moving when you have value. And just knowing that you are valuable. And there are some people who are valuable who just don't even care that they're valuable.
What you mean?
They still move like they are not of value. Like they move reckless because they're stuck in a mentality of thinking like, I can do whatever I want whenever I want.
Oh, you talking about like John Morant? He been wilding.
Multiple people. Yeah,
right.
multiple. Yeah. That's a good example though. But there's multiple people, you know what I'm saying? And then some of them, some people who have value, they get value and they've never experienced like what it's like to have value. So they haven't been exposed to other people with value. So they that's like some of the kids who come into the league, who fresh in the league and stuff, you hear about them getting a DUI or something like that. They ain't no better.
Okay, so do you think, so take money out the equation, how do we apply more value to humanity? Oof. Ain't no perfect answer, but
it's a good question. Though. It's a loaded question, you know. And a lot of these questions are loaded, so I'm just trying to hit the quick points. Yeah. Value in humanity, just be better people.
And that's by action, or is that by what we speak, or is that a little bit of both, like you said earlier?
A little bit of both. A little bit, because, man, I still kind of want to lean more to action, because we can say whatever we want to say, but if we're not displaying and not showing it, then is it really valid?
I think it depends on the person.
Yeah.
I think some people do want to see the people they find motivation in stunting.
Mm-hmm.
But I think some people also want to see motivation without the stunt, if that makes sense.
So like a balance.
Yeah, almost like a balance. Because I mean, if you see like Steve Harvey, we know he ain't broke.
Right.
But he ain't buying big chains and shit like that. But he's also of a older generation. And maybe stunting is a young man's thing.
And see, I get that too, because I look up, you know, there's some rappers who inspire me and entertainers who inspire me.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some like preachers and speakers and stuff that inspire me. The preachers and speakers, they not wearing all this jewelry. They not doing all this crazy stuff, showing off Lamborghinis and stuff like that. And then, you know, the rappers and the entertainers, they're doing that type of stuff. So you could get it externally from both spectrums. So that's why I always say there's internal motivation, there's external motivation.
Because I think the outside stunting, like you said, with rappers and entertainers is different because it kind of goes with the image.
It's the image, yeah.
So, because like a J. Cole, he obviously ain't broke, but he's not flashy, but his music isn't flashy either.
Right.
So I think some of it may apply to the music or specifically for music, applies to the type of music you make. So which one would be more valuable though? Because they're both rich.
But that's a good, you know, that's a whole nother conversation. But that's a good thing. It comes down to image. So as humans, we have our own like perspectives and stuff to think about what image we want to view ourselves as. So I think in that spectrum, it depends on what image you trying to view for yourself. So if you like the entertainment image, if that's something like, if that's what your field calls for, if that's more in your direction, then you're going to probably get more external motivation through the entertainment image. But if you like the kind of low profile and, you know, Steve Harvey, like, I have money, but I don't have to display to the world that you know what I'm saying? Like, what's understood don't need to be explained. Image and, you know, and personally, I guess it kind of depends on where you come from too. You know what I'm saying? If you from the hood, low poverty areas and stuff like that, you know, we already don't really have much. So when we get a little something, like we're taught to pop it. You know what I'm saying? We taught to
somebody gonna see this shit.
Yeah, we gonna show it. Like that's it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I get $100,000. One of the first things I'm gonna want to do is go buy a Benz. Not me per se, but I'm saying somebody with that mindset. They're thinking like, man, I'm trying to pop that. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't had nothing. You know, so now I got a little something. Let me show some. But then you got somebody who still didn't have much, but they just. It comes back, like I said, it comes back to what you're doing it for. What's the why behind it? You know, me, I get $50,000, $100,000. Now I'm trying to go clean the community up. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to give kids a different experience. I'm trying to take them abroad to go learn something, teach them something else. I'm trying to give them some cultural shock experiences. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying there's entertainers who not trying to do that or people, but there's some people with a why. Their why behind the money may be to get a diamond chain. Okay. You know what I'm saying? They why may be get a Ferrari, get a Benz. There's nothing wrong with it either way. Yeah. It just depends on what you prefer.
So is there a cutoff date for yourself as far as I'm at this age, it's time to what's the end goal?
My true end goal is to just see this world better. Okay. Than when I came in it. Okay. And I know that's another interview like loaded.
No, what's that mean?
And it means just what it sounds, you know what I'm saying? It's like I've had a phase of life, and I think some of this comes back to it too. I had a phase of life, I'd say from probably 18 to 25, where it was, you know, more some me getting things for me, doing things that I made me feel better. But in the end of that, what I came to realize is that none of that matters.
The materialistic stuff or being selfish?
The materialistic stuff. I would never tell nobody to not be selfish, because in this life, there's moments where you have to be selfish in order to get to where you want to get. So the materialistic stuff, the experiences did nothing for me opposed to the experience of, like yesterday, I went to a funeral because I told a young man that I would be there for him. You know what I'm saying? His grandmother passed away. And when the funeral was closing and the young man saw me, he walked into me and gave me a hug. money can't buy that moment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's truly my end goal, you know, to have more experiences, to have more impact like that, and to just start seeing it as I walk down the street, just kind of seeing what it was like in the old times, to try to help people realize like life is more than just being on the phone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Real talk.
So I know I asked you what's the end. What's the point where you say job well done? Or is it just a continuing thing?
I mean, I could say that now.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
this right here for me, man, like this is job well done, because it's part of the plan, it's part of the vision. You know, job well done is knowing that my kids have something, you know what I'm saying, there's something for them.
Do you have kids?
No, I don't have any yet. But
ain't no rush.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm saying, if I had one tomorrow, you know, I got companies to leave them. I got tangible skills to teach them. I got walls of information. I got policy set up for them, investment set up for them. So it's like, you know what I'm saying, like that's the end goal for me, just to make sure that they have. And I be careful with words when I say this. I don't want to just even say a better life than I have, but a better like a good opportunity. Like, they have choices and options, you know. Not saying my parents didn't give us a lot. They did what they could.
Yeah.
And that's fair.
I mean, yeah, I think we're supposed to do more for our kids than what our parents were able to. That's my goal.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
that's a great
So why you ain't bring me no merch or nothing? You know what I'm saying? You say you got the clothes and shit. You ain't bring me nothing.
What size you in?
Extra large.
Yeah, I probably got something in the car for you. See, you spoke too soon.
All right, bet. Well, we'll leave us on this. What's your closing message for the world?
Love conquers all.
Okay.
Do what you can. And I'm real specific when I say this. A lot of times we ask the question, well, what could be done to make this world a better place? Rephrase that question and think about it from this perspective. What can I do to make this world a better place? And just start there.
Okay. All right, well, can I get your social media handles and all that? Even though we just said we ain't fucking with it, but
nah, man, and you know what I'm saying. And that's another good close, man. I'm not knocking social media, not at all. I know you ain't knocking it. You know what I'm saying. It's another way of expression for us to utilize social media, because social media is not just bad like the way people paint it out to be. It's actually a tool. Yeah. The internet, period, it's a weapon to do more of whatever it is that you are trying to do anyway. You know, you get to reach. I have people message me from across the world. You know what I'm saying? I have people message me from different countries. I'm building relationships with people here from different countries. And that's another goal too, to be able to travel to other countries, because America is America. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When you meet people from different cultures, you start to see like this is not the only way the world works.
No, the world's much bigger than this city.
Right. So yeah. But you know, in closing, social media, H3_843. That's probably the way to get to my personal page. Applying Pressure Productions on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Hustle Grind Stack Clothing, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter is H3_843 as well. Hoodygami, it's just Hoodygami, HOODYGAMI. And yeah, but definitely if you just get to the H3_843, just DM me and I can get you the rest of the handle, because I know that's a lot. So,
all right, man. I appreciate you coming through, man.
I appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir.